to talk about equations with variables on each side. And one of the things you have to remember is you got to get all of your variables to one side of the equation because you need to solve for that variable. You won't be able to solve for it if they're on both sides of the equation. So if we have 8 plus 4d equals 5d, I've got to get them on the same side of the equation. What I like to do is try and do it so that, number one, if it, for example, this 5d is by itself already. So if I take the 4d over, then everything's all by itself, all the d's are on one side, and that ends up being a good way to solve the equation. So to get that 4d over to the other side, I need to do the opposite operation. Right now it's being added, so I'm going to subtract. And I'm going to end up with 8, because 4d minus 4d is 0, equals d, 1d, right? And I'm done. So that was a very simplified version of what you're going to see. So let's try the next one.
Wait, how come you don't times 5 and 4? Whoa.
Because you're subtracting. 5d's minus 4d's is 1d.
Oh.
Okay? So, if we have a problem like this that just becomes a little bit more complicated, because I have more I have numbers in addition to the variables on both sides. This is where I like to try and stay positive. I could subtract 6n from both sides, but then I'm going to get a negative. And I try to avoid that. So I'm going to subtract the 4n from both sides. Now you don't want to try and combine too many steps at once, because that's where you get lost. So I'm just going to take care of my n's. I end up with 2n minus 1 equals negative 5. Now I've got to continue to solve for n. I need to get rid of the 1 first, then I get rid of what's being multiplied to the variable last. So to get rid of the 1, I'm going to do the opposite operation, add 1, and I'll get 2n, because negative 1 plus 1 is 0, equals negative 5 plus 1, negative 4. And now all I have to do is separate that 2 from the n to solve for n. Multiplication is happening there, so I'm going to divide because that's the opposite operation, and I end up with n equals negative 2. Okay, so what I like to do when we have fractions that we have to deal with, personally, if I've got an equals in the problem, I always try to look to see if I can kill the fraction. And what I mean by killing the fraction is I multiply through by the common denominator. Okay? So the common denominator here is 6. But I have to multiply every term by 6. So I'm going to multiply 6 times 2/3 minus 6 times 1 equals 6 times 9 minus 6 times 1/6 x. When I do that, I've eliminated my fractions, because here I'm going to have a 2, which is 4, minus 6 equals 54. Those cancel, minus x. No more fractions. Okay? So now I'm going to simplify. And then I just combine the like terms on the left-hand side. And notice how my equals, I'm trying to line it up because that's the format I want you guys to use. Now I got to get x by itself. 54 is positive, so I'm going to subtract by 54. And I'll get negative 56 equals negative x. So there's different ways you can get rid of that negative on the x. You could divide by negative 1, both sides. Multiply by both sides by negative 1. Regardless, it's going to become positive 56 equals x. So negative x equals negative 56, positive x equals 56.